Bonsoir Julien Bissai. Viewers, thanks for joining us on the 8 p.m. bilingual newscast on Equinox Television, live from our central news desk in Douala, Cameroon. No church service for inhabitants of Kumba in the Meme Division, southwest region of Cameroon tomorrow to prove that Kumba is under administrative control. The SGO say Christians in Kumba will have to stay at home and pray as God answers prayer, irrespective of where the prayers are coming from. It is part of the administrative lockdown imposed by the #1 administrator of the Meme Division on Kumba and other parts of the Meme Division. We shall be telling you more in this edition of the news.
Good evening once again.
Bonsoir Julien Bissai. Good evening once again to you. Viewers, thanks for joining us on the second segment of news in the English language. We begin with news from Kumba in the Meme Division, southwest region of Cameroon, where the senior divisional officer for the administrative unit, Tundon Chamberlain, has said Kumba inhabitants will not have to go to church tomorrow. They will stay indoors within the context of the 2 days administrative lockdown imposed by the SGO and other municipal officials of the city of Kumba and parts of the Meme Division, notably the government's delegate to the Kumba City Council. More on the activities of the SGO today and the government delegates to the Kumba City Council in the following report. Saturday, September 7, 2019. The roads are completely empty as armed to teeth security officers are stationed across all major road junctions to implement Meme SGO's 2 days administrative lockdown. Inhabitants who attempted stepping out to carry out businesses were chased back home by the forces of law and order. The senior division officer for the Meme, Tundon Chamberlain, and Kumba city government delegate, guarded by combat-ready soldiers, were out to evaluate the effectiveness of the administrative lockdown. Trekking from Kumba main market to the motor park at the market, the SGO and his entourage descended to the Kumba Bisek junction to ensure no businesses were opened, as well as ensure motorbikes or vehicles were not circulating. The senior division officer at the end of the brief told reporters that his decision to implement a 2-day lockdown is to make the population know that the division, and Kumba in particular, is under the control of the administration. He said business premises will only be allowed to open and circulation allowed in Kumba on Monday, September 9, 2019. Question if Kumba inhabitants are allowed to attend church services tomorrow. The senior division officer said everyone should pray in their houses because God answers prayers in all places. The local administrator also vowed to seal the offices of government services that are not open on Monday and promised ensuring the sacking of divisional delegates who violate his order to get their services opened on ghost towns and lockdown days. And from the Meme Division, we move over to the Indian Division of the Southwest region of Cameroon, precisely to Idabato Subdivision, where the divisional officer for this administrative unit has urged parents to consider sending their children to school or be locked up. Iwane Roland was making or sounding the message to parents in a visit to some localities in his subdivision. He was rather angry when he saw children selling instead of studying in classrooms. More with Simat Njikan Gabriel.
The divisional officer for Idabato subdivision, angered by locals of Ndo location. It's more than 10 a.m. and kids who ought to be in school are in a church. This was one of the hurdles met by Iwane Roland Eke, who made a round in his area of jurisdiction to assess the effectiveness of schools in his area. At the Ndo location, the DO gave strict orders to the chief of the village.
As they are here now, they are disturbing my action. If I see them again around, yes, I'll just be whipping them. They are disturbing my action. schools have started.
On a flying boat accompanied by the elements of the Rapid Intervention Battalion B in the high sea, Ewane Roland Eke saw for himself the reality on the ground as most schools are suspended on water with poor structures. For instance, Government Technical College Kombo Amungwa 1. Here, the DO had to move inside water with the lone bridge already off. Added to the poor infrastructural development Idabato is facing, most of the parents that the divisional officer met complained about the lack of means to send their children to school. The divisional officer ended his visit with the donation of books and didactic materials to pupils and teachers of his area of jurisdiction.
Train a child, build a nation. Train a child, build the nation. You are the leaders of tomorrow. And before you become a leader, you must go to school. For those who don't want to go to school, every day I will not stop. I will chase every child who does not go to school. Tell the parents. After 1 month of chasing those children, I will start putting those children in the cells and their parents. And you children, tell your parents that you want to go to school. They should not send you hawking. If I see any child carrying anything to sell, I will kick that thing and throw it away.
Even with the effectiveness of classes in Idabato subdivision, the locality is steadily being invaded by water from the sea, which is a threat to be taken very seriously by the government.
And still, as a result of the worsening crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, internally displaced persons continue to suffer in their host localities, notably in the littoral region, the west region and the central regions of Cameroon, where most IDPs or internally displaced Anglophones are running to. A case in point is Lum in the Mungu division, where a family is living in a very precarious living condition. Inosenaze recounts that story.
We are in Lum in the Mungo division of the littoral region, hosting thousands of internally displaced persons. This makeshift apartment hosts 16 persons from my 16 Boya in the restive southwest region. The armed conflict, which has crippled businesses and agricultural activities, pushed them to Lum.
Because the things that I brought from my store in Boya, I just packed them in the house and they're only getting expired, I'm throwing them out. They're getting expired, I'm throwing them. And that is the whole capital burning like that. So I'm in Lum now, I don't even have something doing. We are now 16.
Though in Lum, neighboring the country-hit southwest region, life is not rosy.
Here too, it's not easy, it's really difficult. You know, leaving your hometown, coming to a land that you don't know anybody, you have not cultivated any crops, you are buying everything, and the money too is not first of all there. You are not doing anything to add income, so the situation is really horrible.
It is a new school year, but these children who have been out of school for 3 years and they're living with their uncles in the bush before abandoning them for Lum are yet to resume education.
That is really our concern because we came here for them to go to school. They have been in the bush for long. They have not bought any book, we have not sold uniform, nothing. The money that we had, we just went and registered them. And we are hoping that maybe God will bless also that we can even buy 2 books for each person.
Apart from difficulties faced in sending these children to school, feeding is also a major issue.
To feed is really difficult for us. It's really difficult because there are times that they eat only 1 time and they are not full. So it makes the children, they are getting sick.
If not poorly prepared rice, this family of 16 will turn to the cheapest commodity, gari. Gari, which is soaked in water without sugar, yet scrambled over by the children. This is consumed at times in the morning, afternoon, and even the subsequent day. To ensure these children, 10 in number, do not starve just for a day, their fathers who have abandoned their cocoa farms in the southwest region now depend on odd jobs, no matter where they are found.
One person came and took them yesterday. They went to one place called Lamba, inside loom like that, called Lamba. They go there, they cannot come back today, and that place does not have network, so there are there 3 of them. When they work job, they will stay there like for 5 days. They come back, they give us money, we manage, just like that.
Another situation is sleeping comfortably when it is nightfall. This lone light, old and torn mattress is on which the children sleep. This chair is occupied by 2 adults. A precarious living condition decried by the IDPs themselves, begging governments to redress the armed conflicts and assist internally displaced persons wherever they are found.
I'm pleading that the government should try and intervene in this matter, because we have now become beggars. At first, nobody know. I used to work my money, I feed my children, I even cater for the needy. But today I've become somebody that is begging, because I can tell you that I'm now a beggar. They can even reach us, try to help us with food.
They keep managing to survive while awaiting hierarchy to engage in a genuine dialogue to end the crisis. So they return to their beloved localities in the northwest and southwest regions.
A very sad situation indeed, and some of these internally displaced individuals, children who in most parts have been for more than 3 years without school, have difficulties to study, notably reading and writing, as observed by most school administrators, who say they are obliged to improvise in order to be able to get them going with students who've been learning in most cases, notably in areas out of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Case in point is Madame Takan of PNEU equally indicated that most IDPs face difficulties in reading and writing as they continue to come in most of the establishment like hers. Take a listen to the following excerpt.
The IDPs that have arrived are here, they're having problems with reading. They cannot read, and it is our role to help them. We're providing remedial classes for them to be able to catch up and have appropriate reading skills suitable for their level. And so there's a special reading class. There's a special reading class for IDPs.
Anna, we leave that to talk about something else now, issues of combating road accidents and urban disorder in the east region of Cameroon. Authorities are fighting to reduce road accidents and equally road-related complications as well as disorder noticed in most urban areas in the east region of Cameroon. More with Immaculate Fogo in the following report.
Alarmed by the state of accidents involving traveling agencies in the east region of Cameroon, Bienvenu Tana Kamanda, the regional delegate of transport for the east region, alongside his team visited some traveling agencies in his area of jurisdiction to ensure that they are respecting the norms. I came to check if these vehicles have the required items like fire extinguishers, first aid boxes, to name per days. I equally wanted to make sure the vehicles are in a good state to ensure that accidents can be avoided. The delegate called on heads of traveling agencies to always ensure that their drivers and vehicles are fit for the journey they are embarking on. Before any driver kicks off, he has to be in a good state and has to ensure his vehicle is in a good state too. In case of any technical fault, it should be reported immediately. On the part of most heads of traveling agencies, measures have been put in place to punish recalcitrant drivers who do not follow the rules of driving. We always caution our drivers not to overload, limit their speed, and equally check the state of their vehicles, and in case of any issue, it should be reported to us so it could be fixed.
vérifier l'état des véhicules.
Most passengers who witnessed the tour of Bienvenue Tana Kamanda in their different agencies appreciated his actions, saying it will go a long way of addressing the problem of accidents in the East region of Cameroon.
Stakeholders in the electoral process in Cameroon have identified the lack of dialogue as one of the key problems plaguing the electoral process in Cameroon. The observation was made after a 3-day workshop organized for stakeholders in this process in the city of Douala. The said workshop ended yesterday. More in the following report.
The nation fears that the current election-related tension in Cameroon degenerates into a violent conflict. Reasons why the United Nations Peace Building offered to finance ELECAM's initiative to strengthen dialogue between itself and stakeholders of the electoral process in Cameroon. The electoral process in Cameroon, actors say, is plagued with a lot of irregularities.
There are so many things in our electoral code that we have denunciated. The most important is the actor who are taking part of the election. Dialogue have to be installed so that we should see together what is not going on well and do the proposal so that all of us should have the same point of view.
Those problems by extension affect other sectors of national life.
We've been able to identify the rules that cause problems, the causes of these problems, the actors concerned, and how to mitigate.
Amidst multiple denunciations from the opposition and within its drive to improve the electoral process, Election Cameroon brought together politicians, civil society actors, media personalities, traditional and religious leaders from the Northwest, Southwest, West, Littoral and the Central regions on a 3-day dialogue platform in the city of Douala.
It's a politics that we're putting in place in Elections Cameroon because no human action is perfect. So we are trying to put forward a system of participation of give and take so that we see where the text needs to be reached.
Participants find it interesting and hope for a positive implementation.
Dialogue is a weapon to arrange. From now, with the seriousness, with the quality of the participant, and then even talking about the recommendation, we hope that political representative, political president will not be complaining as last time.
Many actors during these 3 days recognize the very important role played by the women at the decision-taking positions.
Elections Cameroon officials say it is in its move for perfection and will continue to dialogue with stakeholders for a perfect electoral process in Cameroon.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of the Bilingual Newscast on Equinox Television. We thank you for your very kind attention. We're wishing you a blessed stay in the company of Equinox Television. Julien Bert-Bizarre, have a nice evening.
Merci à vous, Fomi Armstrong Sanda. Je vous souhaite également un excellent week-end. Mesdames et messieurs, c'est la fin de cette édition bilingue du journal. Merci de votre fidélité.